every house has secrets, but in Mia's attic, the secret was alive. And after tonight, it won't stay hidden anymore. It started with a whisper in the dead of night, a voice that shouldn't exist. When Mia and her grandfather both heard the same two words crawl out of the darkness, "Find me." They realized something unnatural was inside their home, something that knew their names, something that had been hiding in the attic for years. The scratches on the floorboards weren't old. The breath down their necks wasn't human. And when the door slammed shut behind them, they discovered the horrifying truth. They weren't the ones searching anymore. They were the ones being found.
The living room was bathed in the flickering blue glow of The Conjuring, casting long, trembling shadows across the walls. Mia and her grandfather sat on the couch, wrapped in blankets, their faces half-lit by the screen. The movie's eerie soundtrack filled the air, mixing with the occasional creak of the old house settling. Mia grinned, nudging her grandfather. "Come on, it's not that scary," she teased, though her fingers tightened around the blanket. A sudden thud from upstairs made them both freeze. The TV flickered, the screen distorting for a second before returning to normal. Granddad cleared his throat, too quickly. "Just the pipes," he muttered, but his eyes darted toward the ceiling. Then, another sound. A slow, deliberate scratching, like fingernails dragging along the inside of the walls. Mia's smile vanished. Granddad reached for the remote, but the TV wouldn't turn off. The volume suddenly spiked. A demonic scream blared through the speakers, so loud it made Mia flinch, before cutting to static. In the reflection of the black screen, just for a moment, there was a blurred figure standing behind the couch. Mia's breath hitched. "Did you see that?" Granddad turned. Nothing there. The clock on the wall ticked. 3:07 a.m. Mia stood in the kitchen, the only light coming from the open fridge. The hum of the motor filled the silence, sounding almost like slow, steady breathing. She poured herself a glass of water, trying to shake off the unease from earlier. Then she froze. The water in her glass rippled, though nothing had touched it. A faint drip, drip, came from the faucet. But when she looked, the sink was completely dry. Behind her, the fridge door creaked open wider on its own. The light inside flickered. Something shifted in the back. A jar of jam slid forward by itself, rolling toward the edge of the shelf, then stopped mid-air, as if caught by an invisible hand. The air turned icy. Mia's breath fogged in front of her. Then, a whisper. So close she could feel it against her ear, lips brushing her skin. "Find me." Mia spun, knocking the glass over. It shattered on the floor. And in the broken shards, for half a second, she saw it. A face staring back at her from the hallway. Then, gone. At the same moment, Granddad jolted awake in bed. The same whisper had just hissed inside his pillow, as if someone were lying right beside him. His closet door, which he swore had been closed, now stood wide open. Inside, a single pair of shoes, pointed toward him, laces neatly tied. But they hadn't been there before. His voice cracked as he called out, "Mia. What did you just say?" The house held its breath. Mia's pulse hammered in her throat as she stood frozen in the kitchen. The glass lay shattered at her feet, water spreading across the tiles like dark veins. The air smelled suddenly stale, like old books left to rot. From the hallway, a floorboard groaned. Not the usual house-settling creak. This was different, deliberate. The sound of weight pressing down. "MIA, barely a whisper, Granddad." No answer. The fridge light buzzed, flickering faster now, strobe-like, casting jagged shadows that twitched across the walls. In each flash, the hallway seemed longer than it should be. At the far end, where the attic stairs began, the darkness looked thick, solid. Then, a wet, guttural clicking echoed from the walls, like something running a tongue over teeth. Mia's breath came in shallow gasps. Her fingers found the counter's edge, gripping until her knuckles ached. A drop of sweat trailed down her spine. That's when she saw it. In the spilled water's reflection, something crawled across the ceiling behind her, too fast to make out, all jerking limbs and matted hair. The clicking grew louder, now coming from above her. Granddad's bedroom reeked of camphor and something fouler, like spoiled meat pressed against a light bulb. The closet shoes now faced away from him. The laces were untied, ends dangling like nooses. From the pillow, another whisper. Whisper, mimicking Mia's voice perfectly. "Granddad, help me," he recoiled. The voice wasn't just in the pillow. It was coming from inside the fabric, vibrating against his cheek. Down the hall, Mia screamed. Granddad lunged for the door, only for it to slam shut in his face. The doorknob jiggled wildly, as if someone on the other side fought to get in. Granddad, raging against the fear, MIA? Silence. Then, from both sides of the door at once, whisper, Mia's voice/Granddad's voice twisted together, "We're right here." The bedroom lights exploded in a rain of glass. In the sudden dark, the closet door began to inch open, revealing not clothes, but the attic's splintered steps, and the silhouette of a man standing halfway down, one hand outstretched, beckoning. The moment Mia's trembling fingers touched the hallway light switch, the bulb burst with a sickening pop, plunging them into darkness. The air grew thick with the scent of burning copper and something older, damp earth and rotting wood. From the attic stairs, a new sound cut through the silence. Scritch scratch scritch like long nails being dragged down each wooden step. "Granddad," hoarse whisper, "don't move." But the house had other plans. The floorboards beneath them began to warp, groaning as they lifted and buckled like a living thing. Mia stumbled as something cold and slick wrapped around her ankle. She looked down to see black, tar-like tendrils seeping up from between the cracks, pulling. Granddad grabbed her arm, yanking her free with a wet schlop. The tendrils recoiled, vanishing back into the floor. Then, thud, thud, thud. 3 heavy knocks rattled the attic door from inside. The wood splintered around the lock. Whisper, from everywhere at once, "You're late." The attic stairs creaked under their weight, each step releasing a puff of dust that swirled unnaturally, forming shapes, a face here, a reaching hand there, before dissolving. Mia's flashlight beam cut through the gloom, revealing a child's rocking horse, covered in cobwebs, still gently swaying a shattered mirror, its glass shards pointed outward like teeth, and in the center, a nest, made of yellowed newspapers, torn photographs, and what looked like strands of human hair. At its center sat a single, pristine object, Uncle David's old pocket watch, still ticking. MIA, voice breaking, "That's impossible. The police said he, Granddad, grabs the watch, never came home." The moment his fingers touched metal, the temperature plummeted. Their breath fogged thick in the air as the pocket watch's lid clicked open on its own. Instead of a clock face, a blackened finger uncurled from inside, pressing against Granddad's palm. From the shadows behind them came a wet, rattling laugh. The flashlight died. In the dark, something stood up in the nest. The flashlight flickered back to life, casting jagged shadows across the attic. Mia's breath came in ragged gasps as the beam trembled in her grip. The nest sat undisturbed, but the air smelled different now, thick with the metallic tang of blood and something sweetly rotten, like decayed flowers. Then she saw it, a single footprint in the dust, fresh. MIA, whispering, horrified, "Granddad." That wasn't there before. The print was too large to be human, the toes elongated, the arch twisted, and it was damp, as if whatever made it had just stepped out of water. A slow drip, drip, echoed from the corner. Mia turned the light, and the beam caught the silhouette of a figure hunched in the shadows, its back turned. The thing was wrong. Its shoulders jutted at sharp angles, its spine too pronounced, like something starved for years. It didn't move. It didn't breathe. Then, Granddad, gripping her arm, voice low and urgent, "Don't look away." Because the moment the light wavered, the figure's head twitched, just slightly, toward them. The attic had gone deathly silent. Even the creaking of the house had stopped, as if the world itself was holding its breath. Then, a whisper, so close it brushed Mia's ear. Whisper, familiar, Uncle David's voice, but wrong, stretched too thin. "You shouldn't have come up here." Mia's blood turned to ice. Granddad spun around, but there was nothing behind them. Then the drip, drip, returned, louder. A dark pool spread across the floorboards, seeping from the nest. The liquid wasn't water. It was too thick, too red, and it was moving toward them. The flashlight flickered again, and in the split second of darkness, the figure was gone from the corner. A wet, ragged breath sounded right behind Mia. She turned. The thing stood inches from her face, its features stretched, mouth too wide, eyes sunken into black pits. It smiled, and its jaw unhinged with a sickening pop. Whisper, now guttural, inhuman, found you. The flashlight died for good. Something grabbed Mia's wrist, and the attic door slammed shut behind them. Mia's scream lodged in her throat as the attic door slammed, but not from wind, not from some unseen force. From the inside, the wood bulged, as if something massive had thrown itself against it. The knob rattled violently, the lock straining. Granddad, yanking Mia back, voice raw with terror, run, now. They stumbled down the attic stairs, but the hallway had changed. The walls pulsed like living flesh, the floorboards breathing beneath their feet. The front door, only 20 feet away, stretched impossibly far, the distance warping like a nightmare. Behind them, the attic door splintered with a deafening crack. A wet, slithering sound followed. Something was crawling down the stairs. Mia risked a glance back and saw it for the first time in full. The thing that had been Uncle David. Its limbs bent at unnatural angles, its skin stretched taut over bones that jutted like broken branches. Its mouth split ear to ear, teeth jagged and yellowed. And it was fast. Whisper, gurgling, like its throat was full of water, you can't leave. You're part of the house now. Mia's fingers clawed at the front door, but the lock wouldn't turn. The knob melted in her grip, hot like burning metal. Granddad grabbed a nearby lamp, swinging it at the thing only for the lamp to disintegrate mid-air, dust scattering like it had been rotting for decades. The creature laughed a sound like nails on glass. Then silence. The house still. The thing that was Uncle David tilted its head, as if listening to a voice only it could hear. Then it spoke, but not in its own voice. In Mia's. Whisper. Perfect mimicry. Her exact tone. Her exact fear. Granddad, help me. Granddad froze. Mia's blood ran cold, because she hadn't said anything. The creature's grin widened, its black eyes reflecting their horror back at them. Then the lights blinked out. In the dark, something inhaled sharply and a new whisper came, this time from right between them. Whisper, chillingly gentle, almost loving, welcome home. Screams, silence. Then a door creaked open.